back to the Engineering Conversation series. Today we have another female engineer who is joining us. For some of you who have already seen her in this clip, you probably know who she is. For some of you who don't know who she is, she's actually my little sister. So today is the day that I put the little sister on the hot seat. I'll ask her to introduce herself and we'll kick-start this conversation.
Hi everyone, my name is Lorna and I am Sophia's little sister. I am a structural engineer. I have a background in civil engineering, but particularly structural engineering. And I've been working for the past 5 years as mainly in the consulting area and a little bit of building. So I guess that's about it.
Thank you, Lorna. Lorna, do you want to share with us how you got into STEM, specifically into engineering? Was it a teacher? Was it a parent? Was it maybe you had a favorite subject back in school? Do you want to share that with us, please?
Okay, so I have always wanted to do something science related. When I was a little girl, I didn't want to be an engineer, but I wanted to be a doctor. So I was already going to go into science, but I changed from wanting to be a doctor to wanting to be an engineer because our dad is a structural engineer, and he started his own company, his own firm, a consulting firm. And I had a conversation with my mother once where this was around the time I was in junior high school. She told me that my dad was a bit sad that none of my older siblings did civil. So I just said, okay, well then I can just do that. It was because the dream of being a doctor, it wasn't something that was so strong. I just wanted to be a doctor because I thought it was a very noble profession. But so after we had that conversation, I decided I was going to do it. And then later on, looking at how doctors work, the kind of things they work with, the kind of things they see at work, I realized it was not going to be for me at all. So I would have probably been an engineer either way, but the civil was just because my dad was a civil engineer, and so I just decided to go there because of course he pushed me towards that direction.
Thank you, Lorna, and thanks for saving your siblings from the civil engineering field.
You're welcome.
we do appreciate you for saving our lives. What is the most important project you have worked on, and why did you choose that project?
Since I started working, what I do, as a civil engineer, you could either be specifically if you're doing structures, you could either be on the consultancy side or you can be part of a contractor's team. So for me, most of the things that I've worked on have been consultancy. So I've done a number of design work, but I think the most important one that I have done is design for a 10-story hostel that I've done for UPSA, which is currently being constructed. And then I also helped with partly I did with my dad, and it's a twin tower project, which is a multi-purpose building. So those are the major design works that I have done.
That's really impressive. If anyone has some structural design work, she's the one to go to. Maybe for free?
No, please.
What has been your greatest disappointment as an engineer, and what would you change about this? You can talk about this in maybe just in general terms of engineering, and then also with you being a female engineer, if there are any specifics you've noticed so far in your career.
I don't think that I have had a lot of disappointment when it comes to being an engineer. Well, maybe except for the fact that coming into engineering, I think the salaries are not as hefty as I thought they would be. So I mean, that is the one thing, and I don't know if that's just I'm thinking that it's just this part of the world, because in Ghana, I mean, everybody knows how it is here. But I mean, apart from that, I don't think I've had any major disappointment. But as a female engineer, there have been a bit of, trouble here and there.
Can you elaborate?
In the sense that like you find that you have to like do extra work, in the sense that you have to prove yourself more, because I don't know how it is everywhere. I'm guessing probably better. But here, I mean, men are still warming up to the fact that like women are doing certain things, taking up certain roles, and doing very well at these things that they are taking up. So even though fine, you are smart, you know what you're about, you studied enough, and you feel like what you're saying is actually correct, like you're given instruction and you know that what you're given is actually correct, sometimes they would question you because you're a woman or because you're young. So you have to put in the extra work and then you have to be very, very confident. Otherwise, I mean, it's a bit difficult trying to take your place like in an area which is male dominated as a woman. So, but then I mean, apart from those things, it's been pretty much okay.
So would you say from starting your engineering career, let's say from the first few months of starting till now, you are still having those problems where you are, it's quite difficult for some of the men you've been working with who probably have been undermining your authority or your instructions on site or at work, or you feel like that has changed over the course of the years as you've been working?
Well, it has changed because I mean, obviously, when you start that one, it's not easy because at the start, obviously, they are trying to see, like it's like trying to see if you can actually stand through everything. So in the beginning, that one you just got out of school fresh, and then these are people that have already been working. So for you to come, they would obviously try to poke. You say something, you try to poke to find out if you're actually worth your salt. But
so you are saying they actually, do you feel like it was intentionally trying to test your own competence?
I think sometimes it looks like that. It looks like they just want to check. Okay. Because I understand that it's like it's not something that they are used to. Women up in, we all know that engineering is male dominated everywhere. So I feel like it's something that they're not used to. So for you to come in and then for you to take up be at the front line commanding and then giving instructions and stuff like that, most of them, they need to check, is this really a woman telling me? Is does she know what she's about? Is she giving me good instruction and stuff like that? So I feel like and that was actually something that my dad told me, that once you now that you have started, young as you are, they will try to check, sometimes they just try to frustrate you, to check if you actually know what you're about. Yeah. So I mean, some of it is intentional, and others I just think because of the fact that they're not used to it. People, they are just most men are now warming up to the idea of a woman in such a field taking charge and then calling the shots. So I think that's just what it is.
Okay. But I feel like with you and other female engineers plus myself being in the field continuously working, we give opportunities for the younger generation coming to make it easy, because by the time they join the engineering field in 10 years, 15 years from now, probably we are hoping engineering is still not male dominated, probably a 50-50 ratio. So it feels very normal to have engineers in these fields. Yeah. So on an everyday scenario, would you say your day is quite monotonous in terms of what you do, or you see lots of variation within the day or 2 days? Or both, maybe?
Okay, so it depends on what exactly you're doing. So like I said, for me, I am doing more consultancy. So consultancy is basically producing design drawings and then supervising work on the site. So if you do not have an active project, then you would typically go to your office, and then if you have design work to do whilst at the office, you'd probably be calculating the whole day. That's if you're doing a manual calculation. Or if you're using a software, you'll be on your computer basically the whole day. If you have administrative work to do, you do that. If you have some letters that you need to do, some instructions that you need to send out, or some letters to respond to, you do that. And if you are on an active project, like the project has started and you are supervising, that's different, because every single day you have to go to the site. So you go to the site, and then you have to actually be on the site, make sure, inspect the work that they are doing, make sure that everything that they are doing is in accordance to your drawings, because you don't want a situation where there's a mistake, because this is a building. If something goes wrong, you are in trouble. So you have to be on the site, and then maybe you go and sit in the site office for a bit. If you have some rounds, if you have some meetings, site meetings or whatever, then that happens. But basically, it's either more of the design part or being on the site. So it's sort of like that most days.
Basically, your day is not repetitious. You have a variety of things that is keeping you busy at work. Okay, what would you say are some challenges or benefits that you has come your way, basically?
Well, for the challenges, like I said, it's that bit about having to prove yourself extra just because you're female. And then there's always, it's not an easy job, because there are days when you have to sacrifice. Like on some of my projects, I have been at work midnight, 2 a.m. because I've had to work through the night. For instance, you're casting a very large volume of concrete, and you need to be there because you need to check, the type of concrete, the quality of the concrete. So if you go to sleep, you come the next day and they've poured some concrete that you don't want on your site. Okay. So it's quite challenging. Yeah, it's quite challenging sometimes, because you have to, be able to sacrifice your sleep. You have to like I said, because you have to prove yourself extra. You need to make sure that you are, always on your toes, like you need to be sharp. And then on the side to supervising, sometimes there are mistakes, the contractor would make mistakes, and then you have to be a quick thinker, because you need to be able to come up with solutions instantly. Otherwise, you could cost the client money. So you need to be able to think, what is the best way to go about this to be able to save the client some money. And then sometimes you meet challenges on the ground whilst you're doing the design. You don't know what is actually on the ground most of the time. So once you get on the site, sometimes there's some challenges that, unforeseen challenges, even though your design is done for worst case scenario. Sometimes there are just some things that you do not see coming. So you need to be able to think quickly to be able to provide solution to all those things. Being sort of like a god in quotes, on a construction site. So it's quite challenging. But on the plus side, there's a lot of respect that comes with it, because we all know, a lot of women do not go into engineering. So people see you and they're like, wow, a female engineer, and then they give you some 2 fingers in the air. It's great. The respect is good. And then also, everybody recognizes that when people recognize that you're doing a good job and you're good at your job, the recognition is very gratifying.
Wow. So in terms of some of the challenges that you were facing, where you're either being undermined or you have to always prove yourself much more in comparison probably to your male counterparts, I like what you said about being quick on your feet to solve a problem. And I think that is one of the core basics in engineering education. Engineers are to solve problems. So whether it's quick on your feet or slow on your feet, the whole goal is that you are solving a problem for a client, you are solving a problem for our community are solving a problem that will shape our world. So I think that is quite key. People don't realize that some of the things that engineers do overall is to solve a problem. And then secondly, you said over time, once you have gained people's respect, trust with the quality of work you are producing, they start to respect you more, especially when you're female in the industry, which is great too, because everybody wants to be rewarded for the work that they put out and the work that they do. What would you consider as your greatest achievement?
As a structural engineer, every single design that you do, I mean, it's great because I mean it takes a lot of thinking to be able to do it. But the best part of it is actually seeing your work, like, you know, your design on the ground, and then it's standing, and then I don't know, it's just such a gratifying experience. Like, you know, years later, and the building is standing, and you can say that, oh, I designed that. I think it's just an amazing experience. And for me, my designs that have actually, you know, since I started just about 5 years ago, I haven't had something that I designed from beginning to end, like, you know, on the ground yet. Like, I currently have one that is starting. It's about almost on the 3rd floor now. It's a 10-story, like I said earlier, and it's going up. And I mean, it's amazing because I did that. But then I've done like parts designs with my dad for 2 other projects, and they are there, like they are standing, and I see that, and I mean, it makes me so proud that I actually did that. So I mean, it's just like, you know, seeing your projects on the ground for me have been like the most like exciting things in my career.
Lorna, have you been taking people to show them your designs that are currently physically in place on the ground and telling people you designed that?
Yes.
Oh my God, you're kidding me.
I'm like, oh my God, I did that. Like, that's my brain right there. So I mean, it's just exciting. It's a proud thing to be able to tell somebody, and you know, for the fact that like, posterity will see it, and it's you, like it's your brain.
So how come you're showing everybody your design work and you haven't shown me any? You know what? Next time I'm in town, I need a full tour of all your project sites.
No problem. I got you.
Thank you. Is there anything throughout your career, have you had support with your engineering career?
Definitely. The support has been great. I think that's actually what has kept me going, because number one, like we all know, my dad is a structural engineer as well. So he's able to teach me. Our dad is a structural engineer as well. So he's able to teach me things. He's helped me to build my confidence, because he likes to put you at the front line and likes to push you to, like, you know, challenge yourself. So I mean, that has been really great. And then he's always there, you know, when you make a mistake, he's there to teach you, he's there to show you, he's there to guide you. And then also some of the people that I work with, for instance, on my project currently is at UPSD. So like their works department is practically like men, but they are also supportive. They know that you are, like, you know, doing a good job, and they show their support regardless of, like, you know, you being a woman or whatever. As long as you are doing your job, they are always there to support you, and then, you know, to guide you when necessary. And then also, obviously, my friends and then my family, they've all been very, very supportive. You know, there are days when you are tired and you think that, like, how am I going to get through this? Like, am I really cut out for this? And then they are always there to push you and let you know that, look, you're capable. And I think that has been everything for me.
I think support is key in any role, because that helps to, one, motivate you to give out your best work scenario that you basically find yourself. And I think that getting support both from your co-workers, collaborators is key, and then also getting support from your personal life, because those two kind of work together, helps to bring out the best in each and every one of us. And my advice to anyone out there who is working and they're not getting any support, please reach out for the support that you need, whether it's some sort of a personal support or professional support. There's someone out there willing to help, but sometimes you have to make the move. You might not always get it like you want. So to end this conversation, one of the perceptions about engineers is that we are really boring people. We are not fun, but I don't believe that because I'm not boring. So what fun or exciting thing do you do that people will be quite surprised to find out?
I would say that, I think I've done quite a number of fun things.
Can you elaborate?
Okay, I've tried. I like daring things. I like to try daring things. And so I have tried, I wanted to try skydiving, but I wasn't able to do that. And so I had to settle for indoor skydiving. So I've tried indoor skydiving. And then I think about a year ago, I was in China. And so I tried the Great Wall Climb, which everybody who has tried that knows that it's not easy. So yeah, I've done the Great Wall Climb. And then I did the Huashan Mountain Climb as well. And then I've done a bit of hiking. And I do some swimming. And if you ask my friends, they will tell you that if there's ever a party or something like that, you never catch me sitting still. I love to dance. So you would find me probably on the dance floor killing it. I'm pretty sure I'll be trying bungee jumping.
Okay, it seems you are an adrenaline junkie.
Yes, I am.
You know what? Those with your bungee jumping, your future proposed bungee jumping, skydiving, hiking. Do your parents know about this?
They don't need to know, Sophia. Don't ask me this.
Okay, we're going to end this conversation here because me and Lorna need to have some conversations outside of this conversation. Yeah, that's what the two of us need to do. Lorna, we want to thank you, one, for your time and for sharing your engineering experiences with us. I personally have learned a lot from you. And like I said, I need to have a conversation with you outside of this conversation. I'm sure that our audience is really going to appreciate what you do in your community, and the engineering community as well as the whole world also appreciates the work that you do out there.
Thank you so much for having me, Sophia. And I'm ready for the conversation.